All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the invisible engine that powers, well, pretty much every app and website you use. We are talking about the backend, the hidden machinery of the web.
Okay, let's start with something super simple, something you probably do, I don't know, a dozen times a day, tapping that like button on a photo. It feels instant, right? But in that tiny fraction of a second, your click is kicking off this surprisingly complex journey. So where does that like really go?
Well, that click, it's headed straight for the back end. In between you tapping that button and your friend getting a notification, there's a super powerful computer somewhere else doing all the work. You can really think of it as the central brain of the whole operation.
I mean, think about it. This central brain is juggling a ton of information. It has to see your click, figure out who you are, find the exact photo you liked, save that fact forever in a database. Then it has to find the person who posted it and ping their phone with a notification. And here's the crazy part. It's doing this for millions of people all at the exact same time.
You know, it's funny, if you really boil it all down, if you strip away all that complexity, the backend's entire reason for being comes down to just one word: data. It's all about getting data, processing data, and storing data safely. The backend is the ultimate guardian of information.
Okay, so we know where it's going, to that central brain. But how does it get there? I mean, your simple little click, it doesn't just teleport. No, it goes on this whole journey with a few really important stops along the way.
Right, so before your request can even get to the actual application code, it's got to pass through a few checkpoints. First, there's a DNS lookup to find the address. Then it has to get past a firewall for security. Then a reverse proxy points it in the right direction, and only then does it finally reach the server. Let's break that down.
Okay, first up, the DNS server. The easiest way to think about this is like the internet's giant phone book. Your browser knows the name, like Instagram.com, but computers talk in numbers. So the DNS server just looks up that name and gives back the correct numerical IP address. It's the server's real address on the internet.
All right, so now we have the right address. Your request shows up at the server's front door, but it can't just walk in. It's got to get past the firewall first. And this thing is basically the digital bouncer. It checks every single request to make sure it's legit and coming through an approved entrance, like the secure port 443. Anything that looks even a little bit sketchy gets turned away right there.
So, you're past security. Now what? Well, you meet the reverse proxy, which is kind of like the traffic director. See, a huge service like Instagram isn't just one single program running on one computer. It's a whole bunch of smaller services working together. The reverse proxy knows exactly which little program is in charge of handling likes, and it sends your request right there. And at last, after all that, the request makes it to its final destination, the server process. This is where the magic happens. This is the actual code, maybe written in Node.js or Python, that knows what to do. It updates the database, ticks that like counter up by 1, and prepares a little success message to send all the way back to you. Whoa, okay, that was a lot of steps, right? It seems kind of complicated. And you might be thinking, hold on, my phone is basically a supercomputer. My laptop is incredibly powerful. Why can't we just do all this stuff on the front end? And that is an excellent question. The answer really gets to the core of why backends even exist.
And to answer it, we really need to dig into how the front end, the part you actually see and interact with, works in a totally different way.
Okay, so this is the absolute key difference. With a backend, the heavy lifting, all that processing, happens on some remote server far away. But with the front end, the server literally just sends the code to your browser, and your own device, your phone or your computer, is the one that actually runs it.
Now, for your own safety, your browser doesn't just let that code run wild. It runs it inside something called a sandbox. Think of it like a padded room. It's a completely isolated, locked-down environment. This is what stops some random website from, reading your emails or deleting your photos. It's a very good thing.
But here's the catch. That sandbox, as crucial as it is for security, comes with some serious limitations. And those limitations, they are the exact reason we need a separate backend to do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, this is really the heart of the matter. Because of that sandbox, there are just some things a browser cannot do. For example, it can't just go and access your computer's file system. That would be a huge security risk. It also has super strict rules about talking to other websites or services, and it definitely can't connect directly to a big, powerful database. Oh, and on top of all that, you just can't rely on every user's phone to have the horsepower for really intense processing. All of those jobs, they have to be done on a server we can trust.
And this table just lays it all out perfectly, right? The front end, running in your browser, is all about presentation. It's what you see, what you touch. The back end, on the other hand, is the powerhouse. It's where the data lives, where the security is enforced, and where all the serious computing gets done.
So maybe the best way to think about it is this. Your browser is this incredible window to the internet, but it can't be the whole house. So the next time you tap a button or scroll your feed or buy something online, just remember that behind that slick, beautiful front end that you can see, there's this powerful, completely invisible back-end engine that's making it all possible.